Dylan, this is therapy session episode 3.
Yes,
Tell
sir.
the people who you are. Who are we?
Who are we?
Yeah,
I'm Dylan. I'm Eric's best friend.
yeah.
We've known each other since I guess freshman year or sophomore year of high school.
Or your high
I
school.
don't know. Yeah. Which I mean, it seems like forever ago, but in all reality, I guess it isn't really like too long ago.
Yeah, and
But
uh,
yeah, great memories. Still more to come. So.
yeah. Um, I guess for the viewers, there is a little bit of a lag, so we're fighting through that. I'll see if I can do something in editing, but probably not.
Yeah. Hopefully it all works out.
Yeah. So this is therapy session for the human climate, and it's just me seeing why people do the things they do, what makes them tick, why are they weird, why are you white, stuff like that.
Dude, I've been trying to figure that out for a minute, man.
It's a, it's a head it's a head scratcher for sure.
Bro, let me tell you, man.
Um, but yeah, let's just get straight into it. Dylan,
Okay.
I've known you since you were 16. We've gone through so much just shit together.
You
If you had to describe yourself, how would you tell people who is Dylan?
who am I?
Yeah,
Well, I would love to believe that I'm a hardworking, just I don't want to say like independent person because like we all need someone to lean back on every once in a while and everything. But I'm just strong-willed. I stick to my morals. Like I got a moral code I stick to, and it's extremely hard to stick to that code, but it's what keeps me on track in life. So, I
yeah,
mean, I would just like for people to believe that I only want good for people. I really never really want anything bad for anyone. Like even if I don't like you, I still I still want the best for you. So that's who I would like for people to believe that I am.
yeah. I feel like you really hit the the nail on the head with that one because that's exactly who you are. You're literally like one of the kindest, most honest, real uh, people I know, and I've chalked that up to why we've been friends for so long. Because we've been
Yeah.
friends through high school, me starting college, you moving, coming back, me moving, coming back, you moving, and me moving at the
We're
same
moving
time.
again.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
here we are in 2021 as two 20-year-old, 21-year-olds, just like taking so dramatically different paths in life, and we know how we work and we respect each other to like the highest degree. You know,
Yep.
you and I don't feed each other like any type of BS. When we ask each other something, it's like a straight, honest answer, and that's just who you are. You don't sugarcoat anything. If someone needs to hear what they need to hear, you're the guy to tell them.
Yeah.
Um,
Might break some hearts every once in a while, but
hey,
it's all for the better.
that's why they pay you the big bucks.
Where? Where?
So, with everything you've said, I want to tell the people the journey you've been taking on recently. I don't know if you would call it a journey, but me
Yeah, go ahead.
as an onlooker, I would call it a journey.
Uh-huh.
Within the past year, you've been diving into politics. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh man. There's this man has been trying to get me into politics for years, and it's just I still don't like I barely even scratching the surface, I feel like, but um I don't know. The more I dive into it, the more I see I don't want to say the cruel things that happen, but more eye-opening it is, honestly. But I can't like still now like I can't even identify myself into like a certain category or group because I don't think I personally know enough about it. But yeah,
And I feel like that is definitely something that people say all the time, especially when they're where you are, where it's like, you know what, I've picked up on a few things. They don't always sound right, and
hmm
I don't know how far you've gone into. I know for sure I've sent you like dozens and dozens of like videos and links and articles. Like, what do you think about this? And I know you've also asked me questions as well. But I always try to tell you like, oh, I'm biased, so like whatever you're gonna get from me, it's gonna be towards this end.
Hmm.
Um, but in the beginning, you said you care for people and you want what's best for people. Um, how is that transferring into what you're getting into now? Do you kind of like try to learn things and question political moves under that umbrella, under that umbrella, like, is this what's really good for the general public, or do you try to keep that out of your thought process?
Um, like, do I try to keep like politics out of the thought process, or just
When you're reviewing politics
uh-huh.
or when you hear policies, and do you keep that in mind, like, is this what's best for the people, or do you have a different thought process when you're going over that?
Usually I try to get the grasp of what people are saying in general. But the people for me are like always in mind, honestly. Like if it's not gonna help them, obviously it's most likely gonna hurt them. And it just seemed like within the past 4 years that a lot of things have been for like hurting people more, than helping them. It seems like to me. So yeah, I always keep people in mind. And that's just because it's my human nature as a person. So
Yeah, yeah. And are you like that from uh like growing up? Did you pick up on things like, oh, people aren't being treated fairly, or is it, did you come to this type of conclusion like as an adult where it's like, oh yeah, people just should have that, why don't they have that?
yeah, I guess I've always seen hmm, I guess I've always seen how people have been treated like differently as far as like minority groups and everything, especially in the school that we went to in high school. Um, I mean, it was a pretty diverse high school and everything, but as far as growing up with like my brother and everything, Zachary, no, like this has nothing to do with like race or anything, obviously, because he's the same race as me. But just seeing my brother grow up and seeing him just go through all this stuff, and even my older brother as well, that kind of put a big emphasis, and my mother being treated poorly, just it put a huge emphasis on just treating people the right way, and like only doing good for people and like what you think is good for people in your heart. So I guess that is just tied in even with politics. So like you should just treat people how like honest, like as honest as you can. Like
Mhm.
if you think something's good for people, then do it.
Yeah, you want to give some context when you say your brother Zachary?
Okay, yeah. My brother Zachary, he has wolf horse syndrome, so he's missing part of his 16th chromosome. He can't walk or talk or he was only supposed to live 6 weeks, and then they said 2 months, and then it was 6 months, and now he's 22. So
Crazy
I
shit,
mean,
crazy.
yeah. I mean, I have a tattoo for him on my side. Like I don't get to talk to him that much, obviously, but I know I still love him. He's my brother.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and that's another thing. Like I said, it's taught me a lot just about like not everyone has the same, you know, possibilities that you have. Like so.
Mhm. And I'm the same way. And let me know if you can relate. I kind of like look at how I've grown up in my family situation and project that and the changes I want. That's why I always ask for immigration reform, racial inequality, and stuff like that. Are you the same way?
Oh, 100%, man.
Yeah.
Like it baffles me that like even since like I mean it's just human nature to put people in like categories, which is it's dumb, but it's part of our nature. But just because someone has like a little bit more melatonin in their skin, it's all of a sudden like a big problem. Like just because they grew up in a different like part of the earth and over like years and years, like thousands of years, like their skin's a different color, so we're gonna treat them different. Like, come on, man, that seems a little far fetched. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's usually how this stuff goes. You know, it's like we have these policies in place where it's from some thought process that we shouldn't be even caring anymore, whether it
Hmm.
be race or gender or being disabled or I always forget the opposite of I guess it's called able. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know about you, but it's always been mind-boggling to me.
It's crazy, and it seems. I mean, I haven't really traveled to other countries, but it seems like in America, it's a much bigger problem than it is in other countries,
Mhm.
and I see why. Obviously, there's a big reason why, but the fact that it still exists today is crazy.
Right, right.
But oh, like, I don't get it.
Yeah. So I actually want to talk about one specific policy where you said I should be writing down exactly what you said when I think it, but how you said there's been a lot of things that haven't been good for people that we have in place. Uh, right now, we've had this conversation a few times. Um, Currently, drugs are really on the forefront of a lot of political conversation, ideology, just ideology and stuff like that. And you, I won't say it out front, but you have
You can say it out front. I don't
no,
care.
my mom watches this.
Okay.
You have a
Let's not do
particular
that.
you have a
Sorry
particular
about that.
you have a particular interest in drugs. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but pretty sure it's Oregon or
Mhm.
maybe Colorado where they've legalized all drugs.
Yeah.
Well, not legalized, they've decriminalized.
Mhm.
And now people are starting to say, well, why can't we just legalize them? Why can't we just sell people drugs? There's different conversation,
Yeah,
but I
let's
want to,
just
yeah.
um
What's your headspace about
yeah, let's just sell people meth, man. Like, let's do it. No, no. Obviously, I think there's some things that should be legal and there's some things that shouldn't.
Mhm,
Um, as far as cannabis goes, I believe that if you're a responsible adult, then you should be able to do what you want to do. In my opinion, it's healthier than alcohol. Like, but obviously you can mistreat cannabis just like you can mistreat anything else. It's a drug. Uh, you can, like, there's there's no problem. Like, I mean, there's not no problem, but there's no, let's just say you can misuse it. Shrooms, obviously, it's just like anything else in moderation. I mean, I say anything else, but I don't think you should be taking like methamphetamine and doing all this stuff. But as far as like recreate, I don't want to say recreational drugs, but for me, cannabis, um, and drugs that can help with like addiction and just like helping people overcome certain aspects in their life. I believe like maybe there should be like centers for them,
mhm,
where you go and take them. But cannabis, I see just like beer, man. Like, they got dispensaries now. So like we're making steps towards it. I believe one day it's going to be at like a 7-Eleven. You're going to walk in and be able to buy what you want. But I think that all comes down to it being heavily, I don't want to say moderated, but um, what's the right word for that?
regulated.
Regulated. There we go. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. It all comes down to regulation, because like even here where I live, there's you can still get bad cannabis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
live in Oklahoma where it's legalized medically.
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's even like lower grade medical stuff.
oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So, how do you draw the
Yeah.
line? And where do you draw the line for legalization and regulation of these substances?
I believe anything that could just like instantly, I don't want to say instantly be detrimental to yourself, but there's a lot of things like opioids take time, you know. But I mean, opioids, I mean, obviously are already legal. Um, I keep throwing out methamphetamine and meth, but like, like that's just like the easiest one that everyone's gonna grasp. But like certain hard drugs like that, like obviously, I don't believe it should be legal at all. My family's had history with that, and it's not been so great.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
but anything that's gonna like alter your state of mind to a certain degree should, I believe, should not be legal. Maybe that's the best way to say it.
Yeah. See, the way I've looked at it, where I'm in the same boat as you. For a long time, I was like, let people just buy whatever they want, because you take something away from it being illegal. And I believed, past tense, that sooner or later these hard drugs would not be used as much, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I won't say his name, but my friend, I was just about to say his name. uh, a friend of mine was saying, like, I'm totally against it, because if heroin is legal, I'm just gonna try it.
Yeah.
And he was being honest. It wasn't even like he has an itch for it. It's just that, like, he can definitely see himself in a situation where other people are using it. And it's like, well, I won't get in trouble,
Yeah, I won't get in trouble. Then what's
right?
the problem?
And then I realized
Until
that,
you do it and get addicted to it.
yeah, and then I realized that, like, yeah, the average person wouldn't do it, but there are people that, like, could easily be persuaded, or it's maybe like an itch that they never realized they had until they're in such an environment.
Yeah, until it becomes not a problem to do it.
Right. Yeah. And but now I think of it a little differently. Where I feel like only certain institutions or certain large bodies should have access to this. For example, rehabilitation centers. Um, it's There's a way you can get people off these hard drugs by using said hard drugs or even other harder drugs. Um, Obviously, not everyone can do a cold turkey, and some people should not do a cold turkey because they've used a certain substance for so long, for so many reasons, that, like, if they just stopped today, they would be dead tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
and they can't handle it. And it's a harsh reality. um
It's sad to say that even now people still have to go through that. And it seems like, I don't want to say more than ever, but there's a lot of people that are addicted to really bad drugs, and it's really sad to see.
and we even grew up with people in our friend group that, like, even small things like weed, like, they started smoking it in high school, and we were just like, oh no, we're fine. And now that's like who they are, sadly.
Yeah, that's like their whole being,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But
And same with alcohol. Like, you and I have stopped hanging out with people because it's like, this is all you do. This is
literally,
this isn't fun. Like, you're not cool.
yeah, like your whole life is comprised of just drinking. Like,
Right, right. Or smoking, or doing that one thing where it's like, we're 20.
yeah, like you should grow up a little bit, man.
Yeah. And I hate talking like that, but it's our
But
friends.
it's, yeah. I
Yes.
mean, we do. It seems like we're talking bad about them, but we do have nothing but unconditional love for our friends and want nothing for the best of them. And in my opinion, I don't know if it's the same for you, but it probably is. But like your natural state of mind is the healthiest mind that like you can be in. So like
Yeah.
uh, alcohol or cannabis, or throw it off the deep end and you're doing coke, like it's anything that alters your mind is like you should always go back to your base, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That
Absolutely.
should be your main way of living.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I guess, yeah, that's what I meant to say. So yeah,
It's such a weird thing. Um,
it is.
that there are certain things that we somehow discovered, and it's now like, don't ever do that. Don't do that. We discovered it for a different reason, and now it's become this, and there's a culture around it, and if you do it, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Um, there's this guy. I've told you about him before, and I always forget his name. There's this pharmacist or chemist who has a show on Vice. He's been on Joe Rogan a few times. Who he revolves around drugs. I totally forgot where I was going with this.
Is it the mushroom
Oh,
guy?
yeah, I've sent you some of his things. Uh,
Yeah.
I was gonna go one way with it, and I was like, that's not what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I got you.
But he said that the culture around substances has a huge effect on how people deal with it. For
Okay,
the
I do have something pretty good about that.
yeah,
And it's I've noticed with some of the friend groups that have had, um, that there's a culture around being broken, if
absolutely.
that makes any sense.
Yeah,
So like when you get a whole bunch of people that are broken together and you're all doing this together, then it seems like a way of bonding. But in all reality, like it's just a group of sad, broken people trying to
yeah,
become better through a substance that isn't gonna help them unless they take the leap themselves.
yeah.
Like,
And some of these substances are like some of that is part of the culture. Like I forgot exactly how he said it, but it was like weed is known for the lazy drug. So
mhm,
people who start smoking weed not automatically, but because there's like this stigmatism, this idea attached to that substance, they swallow it whole. And it's just because of the social norms we put on it. Heroin is seen as this like
mhm,
dirty, raunchy, oh, you need a needle and you become this dirty, filthy person
yeah,
to society. I'm not saying people are like that, but they embody it
yeah,
to a certain degree because we've projected that onto the substance.
mhm.
Do you agree
I
with
can see
that?
that entirely.
Yeah. Yeah, when
I
he said
do,
that, I was
yeah,
like, "Oh,
because there's like 100%, man, and like 100% there. That is definitely there, and like if it was changed since the very beginning, let's just say weed was the happy-go-lucky, I'm gonna get everything done because I don't have any worry drug, then like it would still be that. So,
yeah.
but I mean, not to say that there's people in those groups that don't believe that, if that makes any sense. But
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
the majority, yeah,
Yeah, I'm not even
yeah, I
saying
do agree with that.
if you do one substance, you automatically become this because there's obviously people who are not like that. It was just like a
Oh yeah.
generalization. This is also
Hmm.
the same guy taking it back to legalizing everything, where he's like,
Yep.
he fully agrees that we should just legalize everything. And he talks about yeah, it's dangerous, but we do dangerous things. Why did we stop at drugs? uh Skydiving, people die from it and it's not illegal. It's
True.
dangerous. Driving a motorcycle, which you did, is dangerous, but it's not illegal.
Yeah.
The thing is that we have a process to them. And I don't know if that changes your opinion, but that changed mine a while ago, where I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Why we're really picking and choosing here.
Hmm. And just like I said earlier, man, I believe if we had sinners, I mean, I believe that there's already like some, I don't want to say rehabilitation centers, but there's definitely some places that you can go, I don't know, in America specifically, where you can take certain drugs, and experience them and see what they're like. But I believe as long as like if you're in a controlled environment and there's like medical professionals around you, then to a certain degree, I don't think it should be a bad thing to take certain drugs if
Yeah,
you want to experience that. But you have to be extremely aware that like drugs are dangerous,
absolutely. Every
especially
drug, every drug.
psychedelics.
Yeah,
Exactly. And if like you got to be fully aware of these things when you go into them. So
yeah,
I don't want to throw like DMT out there and be like, boom, but like there's some heavy things, like even shrooms can mess up people and give people like really bad anxiety and everything else. So
Wow. I want to take this idea of society projecting groups or ideas with negative
mhm,
connotations, and I want to take it back a little bit to politics and you. Obviously, you are a white person,
yeah.
and I don't know if you feel like lately society or certain groups in society have been like the white man's an evil man. Um, but have you picked up on those negative connotations, and if you did, how do you feel about that?
Honestly, yes. So the when the whole Black Lives Matter movement like got extremely big, um, I was living in, I don't want to say a culturally diverse like area. Definitely not where I'm living now, which is really weird. But when I was there, I would get like weird looks when I was out in public, like 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 a "we don't want you here" type of look. And honestly, like I wasn't mad because I understood. I was like, I could get where you're getting all these things from, but people are people and you can't judge them just by the color on their skin, because then you're just doing the same thing that white people were doing before. I'm just gonna throw white people under the bus. But um yeah, I have experienced that, but it honestly doesn't really make me that angry or upset or anything else. Like I've had a huge like 2 hour long conversation with someone at work, um, just about, I was just honestly trying to figure out like what his side of the story was and why he thinks the whole movement went the way it did.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, I felt some of it, but I can't be mad, man, because this stuff's been going on forever. And then just one thing I do want to add is, as from my experience, the people that I have talked to um, happen to be white individuals. Or like, I don't get why you can't peacefully protest. One, you're getting the statistics wrong. Like 93% of the protests were peaceful. But if you want to go that route in the beginning, then like people have been peacefully protesting for years, and
mm,
this stuff has been happening for years, and like nothing's been done about it, man.
mm.
It's about time for change, honestly.
I'm happy you acknowledge that 96%. Yeah. How do you
No,
feel
yeah, I
about?
said 93, but yeah, it is
Oh,
96.
I forget. I also forget, but yeah.
No,
Um,
no, no. It's somewhere. It's like 93 or 96 or
yeah.
97%.
The point
I
is,
just thought it was 93.
the
So,
largest majority has been peaceful. Um,
mhm.
how do you feel about the BLM movement? What are your thoughts around it?
Honestly, man, like I don't see anything wrong with it. Like with people just wanting to be treated fairly. I personally haven't seen that much like racism person to person, but I don't honestly don't think the movement is for like a person to person like perspective, because in every situation that I've been in, I don't I've seen very little racism. I see it at work sometimes. I see it out in public sometimes, especially where I live, because it's not a very, especially where I live now, because it's not a very cultural, like diverse area. Um,
I'm gonna jump in for a sec to give people
Go ahead.
on. You grew up in Texas. You lived a
Yeah.
little bit in Florida. Came back to Texas, and now you're in Oklahoma.
I would tell you, DFW area is completely different than like BFE Oklahoma, man.
You
Like,
you really know how to pick a state.
no, I don't. I really don't.
But yeah, I'm sorry to continue. Yeah.
um, but I honestly think that the movement is more towards the, not for like a person to person, I don't want to say day to day thing, but
Like a bigger picture thing.
yeah. I'm trying to figure out a way to word it besides like just saying the law. As far as like how counties have, or how cities have went across certain things, and even since sorry, and even since Reagan, and like the war on drugs and everything, and just going after minorities because those are the people that had drugs, right? Like drugs are everywhere, man. Like there's a lot of people that do drugs, and you can't just go after minorities because that's what makes America bad. Like that's ridiculous, man. Like
Yeah. Um, and those rare moments where you do see like acts of racism, I don't know how severe they are. That's up to you. Do you try to jump in or interject or anything like that?
oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like I'm not I'm not a mean person generally, but when you're hating on someone else just because of a little, still like skin color, man, like come on. We literally like we have the same blood, we have the same heart. Like it's ridiculous. Like I just don't get it.
Yeah.
But
It's barbaric to me. It's just
it, it's like the 1960s, man. We live in 2020. Like get over it, bro. Like
yeah.
obviously racism has existed way before then and it still exists now, but it's just a reference. But yeah.
You're not saying get over being racist. You said like stop being like get over the small thing that's causing your hatred.
Yeah, and
I don't
it's
want
gonna be
people to like try
very
to take your words out of context.
yes, because there's yeah, they could definitely be taken out of context. But I believe that it's a lot of the older generation's teachings too that's just been passed on from like years and years.
Mhm.
And then like if you talk to any younger person now that's around 20 years or younger, I would say I don't believe that they have that much like racism in them because racism is taught. It's not you don't come out of the womb and be like I hate, like it's ridiculous. Like you're taught this from a kid, you're taught this from either your grandparents or any part of your family or even like your home life, which would be incredibly sad. But
Yeah. I
yeah.
I wouldn't agree with you with the 20 because like we've grown up with people. I have a name in my head. I hope you know who I'm talking about. Who like they've said and done things. I was like, oh no, that's
That's
not.
why I said generally people that are to around 20 years old.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, and I agree with what you said earlier with like this negative connotation that's been around white people because obviously you're my best friend
Hmm.
and it's easy to crack a joke or make it a remark for people who are white and I've done it too but I'm like yeah but I understand that it's not a general thing and it makes me just as bad especially when the person um a person that I love so much in my life you and care so much in my life I know you're not like that and I don't even want to say like the stereotypical like oh he has a brown friend so he's not racist. You're just a kind-hearted
Yeah,
person.
yeah,
You,
yeah.
yeah. Have you ever had to almost like prove yourself or defend yourself like because you are white?
If I'm this may sound incredibly dumb, but there's a reason behind it. But if I ever have to prove to someone that I'm a certain way, I don't.
Mm,
And
mm.
that sounds dumb, but like I am who I am, and if I have to prove myself, if I have to prove I'm not racist to you, one, how do you want me to do that? Two, no, it's not worth my time.
Yeah,
There's a trillion other people on this planet. I don't have to prove my worth to you,
yeah.
if
I've
that
always,
makes any sense.
as a person who's not white, I've always wondered that because there is no like convenient way like oh yeah I do this so I'm not racist. I my
Yeah,
best friend is a brown guy with a beard and I'm not racist. Like
yeah.
I never knew how people could do that. That's why like I just want to know like how have you dealt
Oh,
with it? Yeah.
yeah. So just like I said, like if I absolutely had to, there's no like good way to do that.
Yeah.
Um,
There's no convincing
but
there either.
there's not because it's all up to the interpretation of whoever's trying to bug you about it. So
Yeah. How I want to be careful how I say this. How have you approached your family about these topics, or if you have, like how would you do, or how have you done it?
um
You don't have to share every. I know there's a
No, no,
person.
no, 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 no. No, you know the last thing that has
Yeah,
happened in between me and my family,
yeah.
and
I'm not gonna make you share that if you don't want to, or
no, no,
push
no,
you.
I'll go ahead because it's something. It happened, and like I don't want to say I have no hard feelings about it, but the way I dealt with it, maybe I should have dealt with it different and like actually said something about it. But just being the one person out of like 15 people there probably wouldn't have went so well. But
Just
growing up, like
don't
yeah,
say
go ahead.
like specific names or
No, no, no,
uncle
no, no.
or whatever. Just yeah.
Yeah. So I had someone in my family say some really raunchy things that included a lot of bit of racism, and I just left. Um, like literally, like I told them I just had to go, and I just left, and I really haven't even talked to my family since. They still really honestly don't even know why, but yeah, like I don't deal with it, and so it's really hard for me to like see my family, like these people that I grew up with like my whole life, and then just see like who the like their true colors are, and it's just like I don't, if that doesn't say I don't put up with it, then I don't know what will. Like
Do you wish you would have gone about it differently and maybe even had a conversation, or do you think like something like that would have like had such an impact on you and how you view them that you would have done it the same way, where you just like, I need to get out of this situation and avoid speaking to you?
honestly, like if we're being 100% honest, as soon as someone started saying those things, I just wanted just to like break down. And honestly, man, like I cried the whole way home because I was just so disappointed, like in my family. I was just like, man, like this is ridiculous. Like how can you even like think about these things like that? Honestly, I don't think I should have done it another way because if I did say something, then it probably would have been a lot worse than what it has ended up being now.
Mhm.
But you know,
Yeah. It's really hard to have these conversations with family members. I've told you, I have family members where
Mhm.
I just can't wrap my head around that they voted for Trump being an immigrant, because it's just like, where are you coming from?
What?
Yeah, and I know exactly how you feel, because it's not hatred towards them because they are family, but it is disgust and disappointment even.
Disappoint. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but for me it was disgust and disappointment, and it was just like, how is it 2020? At the time for both of us it was
It
2020,
was 2020.
and you carry these ideas, yeah, and
Hmm.
so
And
open
it's like
about
you, yeah, and it's like you don't love them any different. Like they're still your family, and you love them 100%. But it's really weird when you do have that wall in between. Like I unconditionally love this person because they're my family, but I am just incredibly disappointed in their morals.
it.
But
Yeah,
everyone thinks differently, and if I guess that's the way they want to think, they can. Uh,
I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one, dog.
uh but it's incredibly wrong, man. Like
Yeah,
just to have those morals and ideals in your head, just like, and you think about these things like day in and day out, like how is that not incredibly unhealthy for you? Like just even the mindset.
yeah, and also like you lose so many experiences. Like if either
Yeah.
one of us had those ideas, like this would not be a thing. This love for each other would not be a thing. And like,
No,
when you told me that, I'm like, Dylan could have easily been influenced because these were core people in your life, and we
dude, I
would not.
literally grew up with these people like every weekend as
Yeah,
a kid. Like we went to church together, and they were like we took family vacations together. Like I was literally there like almost every weekend. I spent my whole summers there. Thankfully, I don't have those ideals
yeah, because like
because
this.
of my wonderful mom.
Shout out to Mama Dylan.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I like I'm not even answering questions anymore, because this is just like something that like bothers me so much, and like
Yeah,
racked my brain, because it's like, why, how, um
yeah, exactly. No, it's just There's nothing you could really say if you have like the mindset that we do. Like you can't even grasp the way that the way you would have hatred for someone. Because like in general, I don't even have hatred for people, even if they do bad things to me. Because it's just like whatever. Like you're not even worth my time, to be honest. But
Yeah, yeah. It's insane for sure. Um, so you said that a lot of people that are like this, it's because of their how they were raised. Do you think there are like specific aspects that lead to people like this? Like I know what I'm trying to lead into, but I want to know if you think that as well. Like
like how they're taught certain things
yeah,
or
or like social things that like usually when a person goes down this route, um, I'll just come out and say it.
good.
I feel like what I'm trying to get to is religion. Um,
Uh-huh.
I feel like religion has helped people carry these mindsets because the Bible was used to justify slavery. Do you kind of see where I'm coming from, or as are
Uh, a little bit kind of. I think I don't know, for me, racism, I don't want to say has to, well, yeah. To me, it has like almost nothing to do with the Bible.
mhm, mhm.
That's just because of my upbringing, um, which still is kind of crazy to me that you can go to church on a Sunday and then Monday morning just throw out the N word.
Oh yeah, or later that Sunday even.
Yeah, like you get done with church and then you go get something to eat and your family just like saying all these things and it's just like, man, like what are you doing?
Did you not pay attention or?
Yeah. Yeah. Like we were just in class. I don't want to say class, but like you know what I'm saying. Like we just came from church, man. And now we're just sitting at probably Chili's.
The guy in the front, the pastor guy, he said to love each other. Where is this? Like,
You just got baptized, man. Like what is going on? No, I'm just
yeah,
kidding. That's a joke. Bad joke, but yeah.
yeah. So, let's talk about religion.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put labels on you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think you're a religious person, but I do feel like
No.
you have spirituality.
Yeah.
So, just tell me
Um,
how you feel about religion and how it
honestly,
was for you growing up and where you are now with it.
yeah, so I grew up going to church with my family like every weekend. I would remember that my mom would bring me over to my family's house on Saturday night. I'd spend the night there. Sunday we'd go to church, usually get something to eat, and then go back home. Sometimes we'd go on Wednesdays if I didn't have school for the rest of the week or for whatever reason I was on break or whatever. Went to church for a while, probably there for like, I don't want to say 2, 3 years. I mean, that's not like a while, but it's a decent amount of time. And even as a kid, I didn't understand maybe I was too realistic as a kid, but I didn't understand the book and why people worshiped the way they did. But I grew up and I matured and I saw that the book for me and the way that I see it is a book of stories that people can relate to and help improve their life upon. And I don't see any problem with that in any religion. If something, it doesn't even have to be a religion, but if something helps you in life and it helps you get through life and helps you have a better understanding, helps you treat people better, have a better family life, treat like your wife better, your kids better, love your kids more unconditionally. It doesn't matter what it helps you do. Like if it helps you, it helps you. I don't see a problem with it. But for me, I don't follow any religion because I'm more in tune with people, I guess. Um, I try to stay more present. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
No,
I
I know.
self-reflect a lot and I read people a lot. Um, just I'm more interested in people and like the way they live, the way they think than I am going through a book, I guess, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like I already have my morals and I know the way that I live my life. And I follow these morals like really extremely hard. And I'm lucky enough that I can say I'm 21 and I have a good set of morals to follow along that I think they can last me a decent way in life. I mean, obviously they'll change, but um, for me, I see religion as help and I don't need a religion as help right now. But if it helps you, I don't see any problem in it, man,
Yeah.
at all.
Do you have any critiques on religion? I guess
Uh-huh.
I should give a little bit of background so I can ask this properly. You already know it, but I I've grown up in the church. My grandpa, the whole reason my mom's side of the family is in the U.S. is because of religion. My
Hmm.
grandpa was a pastor of Venezuela. Some people in the U.S. offered him a visa to come, and that's how they've been here. So my grandpa's a pastor. My mom is a pastor. I went to the church she was a pastor at for I don't know, as longer than I've known you, and it's just like when since a part of this group, I critique it heavily, and I critique religion a lot just because I've seen like what you said, like the beautiful side of people overcoming things and becoming a better person. But I've also seen religion be an excuse for ignorance and why you should cast certain people or groups out of the conversation. Do you have any critiques on it, or are you just like, oh no, that's something different?
That's something different. I have seen. Okay. I do have one thing. I've definitely seen religion being used as an excuse, and it's incredibly saddening.
Yeah. Um,
But you can only do so much to help certain people.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
um,
Um,
but one
we're
thing, I guess before we leave, but
no, you're exactly doing what I was gonna say. Go ahead.
okay. So, one thing before we get out is right. I guess right after we talk about religion and everything is take all your life experiences and learn from them instead of complaining about them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I see too many people that are just stuck in so many different ruts. And I try to help them, but you can only do so much to help people because people only change for themselves. They don't change for other people. But take your life experiences and learn from them. Don't just sit on them and like all this sucks. Like yes, you could do that. Like yes, there's a lot of aspects of life that just suck. Like we all go through them. You're not like in this thing alone, but like learn from them, become a bigger, better person. It's the only way. Life is just a big game of like learning experience. And if you're behind the curve, you need to catch up.
Yeah. Um, we're probably pushing the 30-minute mark, but I want to end. We started with who Dylan is. I want to end with who do you want to be?
Who do I want to be? As far as just like in general or like morals
What
and things that I
whatever
want to do.
whatever it is to you. Whatever it is to you.
Um, this does sound really weird, but I live my life the way I want my autobiography to be written.
No.
And it's just like that's exactly why I follow the morals the way I do. And it's because it kind of ties along with you're only judged by your finished product.
Mm,
Um, so and my finished product is always trying to be treat people fairly and just like life is serious, but also at the same time it can't be that serious. Um, so the person that I want to be is just treat people just exactly how I'm doing it now. Live life the way I'm trying to do it now. But I want to help people in like a mass in a way. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that. Okay, I do know how I kind of want to do that, and I've talked to you a little bit about that before. But I want to be in Formula Drift. That's the ultimate dream. Um, and to own, one or several of my own companies. But I want to do something before I pass, because everyone has their time, to just help a mass majority of people. That's just what I want to do. That's it.
Yeah.
That's who I am. I'm a simple person, really.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like that's a great way to end this conversation. Don't hang up. I'll just end the recording, but
Yeah, good.
I want to end it with like a goodbye to you, Dylan. You, Dylan Keel, you are my best friend, and you've been that for so
Yes,
long.
sir.
You see me in my lowest points, and I pray you see me in my highest. And
Oh,
same.
duh, bro. What?
But you're just a beautiful person, an amazing person to talk to, an amazing friend, brother, white person.
Yeah, the white guy.
The white guy. You're like the card that everyone should have in their deck. And I love you, Dylan,
Love you
and
too, bro.
I hope I can hug you again soon.
Yeah,
You're in
soon, man, soon.
you're in Oklahoma, I'm in Indiana, and
Yeah,
yeah. Thank you for coming on this episode of Therapy Session.
you're
I
welcome, man. Thank you for having me.
No hour, 2 hour, 5 hour video can explain who you really are, but I feel
Yeah.
like I try to ask things that were important
Mhm.
without getting too personal, and just share the light that you just naturally beam. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, man. Maybe one day when I get some vacation days, I can come up there and I'd be actually like on a full-fledged
Yeah,
like just podcast or something. We'll figure
absolutely.
something out.
It
Yeah,
sucks. It sucks that you and I have done so many projects, but because where we always are in life, we never do them together.
yeah.
But I'm
We
happy
just
you.
need to recreate photography class, man.
Yeah, for the people who don't know, Dylan and I, we met sophomore year in chemistry, but we
Yeah,
really became close junior year, technically your senior year, in photography
yeah.
class. And
Oh, why did I graduate early, man? Like
uh,
this is the dumbest
hey,
idea ever.
we're 21 now. So we gotta.
I mean, it's not like I didn't have a friend at the time that told me don't do it.
I absolutely told you that a
That's
million
dumb.
times.
Oh,
But
you definitely did. Definitely did.
hey, things happen for a reason, and you're alive
Yeah,
today. So that's all that matters.
exactly.
Thank you, Dylan. Thank you.
You're welcome, man.